Thank you, Aisha. Thank you, everyone. So apart from credentials that Aisha was so kind to name, my definite honor is to be the alumna of KeyMap. And my topic is very tied up to my alma mater. So crossroads of creative economy, do arts and business extrude each other? First of all, I walk my life and professional path on the verge of artistic and business fields, seemingly all the time. The thoughts and ideas that I would like to share with you today are not affirmed truths. They are just my way of navigating throughout these topics or the subjects. And I try to navigate through them in a very practical terms. So let me first of all touch upon the topic of, or the idea of creative economy first. The idea that was developed by Professor John Hawkins in 2001, when I happened to be a very happy student of KeyMap's first and second year at this point. So creative economy is usually described in economic systems that, or where imagination and creativity are the main value, rather than typical resources like labor, like land or capital. In such systems, creative economy occurs, quote unquote, where individual imagination and creativity is the source of such value. And definitely a reason for a transaction, of course, meaning buying or purchasing something. Well, creative economy definitely suggests the combination of two, arts and business in a way. We usually classify arts as the expression of creativity, like poetry, music, dance, cinema, sculpture, painting, you name the rest. And we often name business as activity or organization that suggests services and goods for the exchange of money. Well, can arts become business? Can business become creative and artistic? I don't see the reason why they cannot. Moreover, there is a saying, business is art, because it implies to the factor that a good and solid business presupposes passion, imagination, creativity, because how else would you develop the business? Well, usually in business cases, people think that it is very possible to create something, be creative, artistic in the business, but art very rarely is considered to be something logical, with good managing skills, and that's why arts might be extruded from the understanding of business. I'm not saying that those two cannot be connected to one another. We see the modern world where corporate businesses support arts and finance it, put investments into it, sponsor different artistic projects. We also see that arts sometimes become the part of the business, producing something that can promote these businesses or make them, or the brands well-known or familiar to people. However, what I mean is, can business and arts be involved with one person? Can it become the skill or the ability in one person? I am thinking about TEDx Almaty 2017. It was my first time when I was honored enough to perform on stage of TEDx, organized in Almaty, with the group of wonderful people of Keltians, Kazakhstan English language theater that was actually founded and born at KIMAP, at the KIMAP premises and facilities. So performing the piece from the Broadway musical Cinderella, we were following this piece after the speech of our director, Laura Pacini, who spoke about how clerks by day or business people by day and artistic people by night usually join Kelt group and perform. Well, I would say that this is a pretty typical form that we can see today. We see that people in business sometimes leave their daily job at night and go somewhere to dance, to paint, or to express their artistic visions. And it seems natural for us. But I'm asking a question of, can the artistic person be educated enough to be able to promote their arts or whatever creative things they are producing? Well, how many times have you guys heard, oh, he's so artistic to the core? Or maybe you have heard, oh, she is so good in logical and analytical tasks, and she's so good in organization. And here I don't mean the compliments. I mean the limitations sometimes, or labeling us by only one thing that we can do. Remember, it seems like almost every culture has this saying, jack of all trades, master of none, right? Like when you can do many things, most likely you won't be able to, progress in any of them unless you really focus on one thing. So this kind of labeling sometimes, for the artistic people as well, can be very limiting, and it can come from very many wonderful things in our life. This labeling can come from our families, this labeling can come from our education, or any place else. For example, let's think about a wonderful tradition of Tusao Keser, or the same tradition in Korean culture, or some island cultures, where they let the baby walk. Maybe sometimes they cut their cords, and they also let the baby choose from the different tools that are lying in front of the toddler. Why don't we do this thing in a more playful way? We would be just happy with the baby or the toddler to play around with such tools, and maybe later on in life decide what they want to do and how many disciplines they would like to follow. In education, in wonderful schools, where we are given a chance to present our artistic skills and at the same time any other, like mathematical, physical, IT, and other skills. Children have this selection. Why don't we stop labeling them, putting them in the specific classes unless it was their choice to make it? And maybe then they could be jacks of all trades, but masters of many as well that they choose. I also encourage parents when they choose the education for their kids, because most of the times we as kids don't know what we want to do. We have the whole life ahead of us that where we can really choose, I'm going to get this education, there I'm going to get another one, here I'm going to do this thing for a couple of years in my life, and then I choose to do something else. There's nothing bad about it. But parents, as the main, I would say, core of children's choices, might be given the better guidance. Not like you're not going to be a very serious person if you go to arts and you do not choose the business as I want you to choose. Why don't you just say, or don't we just say, hey, just go to the business university, get a wonderful skill or wonderful skills, and get back to your artistic life, or always have your artistic life alongside with you, so you could choose it or get back to it later when you are educated enough and you can support yourself through business. So we can see that these limiting beliefs do not always serve us very well, so we should definitely expand our boundaries in this regard. Referring to my own experience with the wonderful alma mater, KeyMap University, that I'm very honored to stand on the stage of today, is that I'm remembering myself as a little girl, imagining that I was a businesswoman and an artist, kind of playing around with those two worlds, I would say. Back then, it was totally subconscious. I was completely not thinking how to merge these two together. They perfectly lived in my mind. And barely did I know, or little did I know, when I had a choice of entering KeyMap University, and basically it was a choice of my parents or suggestion of my parents. They were wise enough to talk me into this ability of entering the business university. Because actually I didn't want to go to performing arts school for some reason. So little did I know that entering the business university, I would find the theater of my dreams, KELT, Kazakhstan English Language Theater. First it was a student organization, and then it became a community theater known as the first English language theater in Kazakhstan. So I gladly studied business disciplines at KeyMap while doing something artistic through KELT. And I would tell you, KELT is, to my point, is the perfect or the best workshop where you could apply most of your skills. So we were preparing productions or plays, we were making designs of posters, we were marketing and promoting our plays, and literally on our foot spreading out leaflets to know, or to get people to know more about our theater, and of course university as well. So then when I I graduated KeyMap and I entered into the corporate business field because I worked there for a very long amount of time. I was still coming back to my alma mater specifically for KELT and because of KELT. So as it was said in TEDx Almaty 2017 performance of ours, the same was actually happening to me then when I was a business person by day and an artist by night. And it was a perfect combination. Though I had a business or corporate work and the second work, which was a volunteer one, but in theater. So after exiting corporate world later on and entering, and also exiting KELT because the organization happened to close for a while, I was happy enough to open my own theater or co-found my own theater with my partner, which gives me the chance to combine these two elements, arts and business. Of course, getting back or thinking about the experience that first of all I gained through KeyMap and then was able to apply in the business world and really get the practical opportunities. I would never imagine myself being a good artist if I was not coming from the business foundation or business grounds or something that first KeyMap and then the organizations I worked in taught me. As an artist, you feel more mature, more supported, definitely knowing where you're gonna go and what you're gonna do and how to lead and guide your team when you're making this choice in life. Today, in our theater, not only myself and my partner and some other people, we work making productions, being authors of our own productions and shows, developing, and it's just only 2 years since we've been opened. And my business skills are such a tremendous help for me and to me because we communicate with people, we market, we promote, we work with social media, we work with media, so with journalists. We know like whose doors or which doors to enter. We definitely know how to communicate with our audience and create this element or beautiful element of welcoming for them, because this is what I get to know through business. For example, being able to work in Etihad Airways in my corporate practice, we had this saying in the airline that the world is our home and you are our guest. So this is basically the thing that I also applied in my own theater vision, because we treat our audiences as our guest, and I hope we do it well enough. So today, my invitation to youngsters, especially youngsters in arts, as I already outlined. If you're standing on the verge of choosing, even if you are in KIMAP University, or if your brothers, sisters, or your friends ever have a question of, should I enter the university that my parents want me to enter? Because I still hear it from youngsters, even though you guys have so many tools right now. I hear it a lot, like, I want to be a movie director and my parents make me enter this and this university. I want to be a singer in the future and my parents make me go to KIMAP because it's prestigious. Don't doubt your choice of entering business university. Find the discipline for yourself that you would love to learn and be playful about and be interested in. Try to get into it and know that it will definitely give you some common and very solid grounds later on. Your artistic life and something that you can do as a hobby for some time will never leave you. It will not go anywhere throughout your life if it's true choice of yours. So being in the transition from this year to the upcoming 2026, I find myself of not standing on the crossroads of choosing between arts and business. For me, these two are absolutely related subjects, and they do not only merge very well, they strengthen one another. So I claim that if you decide to combine arts and business in your life and not postpone it for the future, maybe sometimes when you become a great singer, then you go to some business university and study some skills. Think that sometimes it's great to learn the skills all at once, because then you're a power station. So I have already made my choice, and I really hope that such an approach can maybe expand somebody else's horizons. Thank you.